Hello, and welcome to a new episode Tuesday on the Couch Potato Podcast. On this episode, Lucas and I are joined by our good friend Mark as we sit down to talk about the underrated 1988 action comedy classic Midnight Run. So that'll be pretty good. Before we kick things off this week, thanks to everybody that voted for the Turkey Day Turkey Spectacular. That actually got quite a bit of votes, so we were pretty pleased with that. The episode that won, we're doing No Holds Barred, the Hulk Hogan night, I think it's 88, 89. I don't know, something like that. The Hulk Hogan Wrestling Classic. So that ought to be fun. That's going to be dropping on Thanksgiving weekend. So thank you to everybody that voted. We had a lot of great choices. It was pretty difficult to choose. So thank you so much for voting. So without further ado, I present to you Midnight Run.
Robert De Niro does the shooting.
Don't move, I'll shoot you right through the glass.
Charles Grodin does the complaining.
This is not good.
They're the best friends
Glad to see me.
that ever wanted to kill each other.
You get it started, and I'll run you over.
From the director of Beverly Hills Cop
Under different circumstances, probably still would have hated each other.
Midnight Run, rated R. Special sneak preview Saturday night.
Okay, and welcome back to the Couch Potato Podcast. With me, usually, is Lucas. Lucas, what's going on, man?
Can't say always anymore.
No, I can't say always anymore.
But I'm on a roll this time.
Yeah, this is 2 in a row.
That's right.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Busy dude. You can't blame me.
Well, you decided that working a second shift job to support your family was more important than the show that we do for free.
I know, what a dickhead I am.
Yeah, I know, real SOB. We also got a special guest with us tonight. The guy that's the inspiration for the Oh Daddy series of romantic novels. Mr. Mark Dyer's back with us this week. Mark, what's going on, dude?
Russ. Oh, not much. Sunday night,
Yeah.
hanging out.
Well, I'm working on giving you like a really good introduction. It's still work in progress.
I see that.
The ultimate dad, Mark Dyer.
Yeah, professional dad,
I guess.
Mark Dyer.
I don't know if my kids would agree with you.
I dropped my kids off today, and I seen my mom was watching Father of the Bride Part 2, and Steve Martin was wearing a long, baggy denim shirt, a white T-shirt, real baggy khaki pants, and white shoes, and you were the first person I thought of.
Don't have that shirt.
Anymore.
Mm,
Anymore. Got sold at a garage sale a couple of years ago,
don't get
right?
me wrong. I probably did, yeah.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
All right.
Sale.
Good deal. All right. Well, on this week's episode, a lot of times we do movies that are pretty much for the masses. We've done The Dark Knight. We've done some big hits, but then sometimes we like to do ones that I dislike or Lucas dislikes, and this is one of those this week. We're doing Midnight Run, which is one of my top 10 all-time favorite movies. And Lucas actually just watched this for the first time the other day. Am I wrong?
That is correct. Yeah, I had never seen it. I actually really never heard of it. I heard you talk about it a few times, but, this came out, I believe, in 88. I was born in 87. So, I was 1 when this came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't really even heard of it.
Yeah. What did you think?
I thought it was excellent. It was funny. It was fun. There's I'll get into a little more specifics about Alonzo, but the way that he was played. But yeah, I thought it was actually really excellent.
Good. I know I struck out with you on Dirty Work a few weeks ago, but I'm glad that
movie sucks.
No, it doesn't. But I'm glad that a movie that I recommended to you finally pays off. Mark, you're around my time frame. When's the first time you seen Midnight Run?
And I knew you were going to ask me that, and I'm thinking, did I just watch this when he mentioned it when we were talking Voodoo, when we worked at Best Buy? I'm like, no, I've seen it before. I think when I was in college in Columbus, I had time where I would go to the library in Columbus, and they had a massive film library, and I would pick a week where I'd watch somebody's movies. I did De Niro, I did Al Pacino, I did Marlon Brando. So I think I did probably this movie during that run because I know I've seen it. I just don't remember exactly when. But, because I would go to the library, get a stack of VHS tapes, take them back to my apartment, get as many done as I could within a couple days.
Before you had a lady friend come over, right?
Yeah, I guess. That's the first wife. We won't talk about that.
Sensitive subject.
Ever.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I used to do that too when I worked at a video store. I would just get on an actor run and just rent everything that I could possibly get a hold of from them. That's how I seen Serpico for the first time. That's how I seen Dog Day Afternoon. I seen a lot of De Niro stuff for the first time.
Yes.
Doing that. For me though, I seen Midnight Run. I know some of the movies we've done were part of the old HBO Showtime run that I used to watch a lot of as a kid, and Midnight Run was on cable all the time as a kid. This is one of those movies that I would catch, the scene where the FBI and the mob's chasing after De Niro and Grodin, or I've caught it to where, Dennis Farina tells his lawyer to have a cream soda, or, hey, more on number one, put more on number two on the phone. I'd always catch it at some point, okay, I'm going to sit and watch this for a little while. Plus, this movie is very influential in my life because it taught me how to swear the right way.
Dude, they say fucker and motherfucker and fucking so many times in this. That's right up my alley. That is my every other word vernacular.
I was going to try to keep track of how many times they said it, and I gave up after a while. I was like, all right, I'm just done. I know they say it a shitload.
When I sat down to watch the movie again, I saw R rating, I went, why is this R rated? I don't remember anything that really stood out. And then De Niro starts, and I went, oh, okay, yeah. That's where this is going.
His tirades were great.
Lucas, I'm going to ask you first. Since you kind of don't know the whole 80s run as well as Mark and I, the 80s was the birth of the buddy, the mismatched duo that kind of always went on some kind of adventure, whether it's cops or whatever. How familiar are you with that genre? You got Lethal Weapon, Pure Luck.
I've seen Lethal Weapon, but I'm not, necessarily familiar with the buddy comedy.
Well, the only reason I even bring this up is a few weeks ago on the Toy Story episode, producer Adam and I were talking about the best movie duos. Because Buzz and Woody's obviously a very iconic duo, and I really struggled with trying to figure out, at the time, because it was one of those questions that just came to me right before we started recording. So now I've had a few weeks to let this fester. So I'll defer to Mark. Mark, where would you rank Grodin and De Niro in terms of the buddy and the buddy duos of all time?
I don't know. You see, your problem. My problem here is that you want this in your top 10 movies of that you love. For me, it's not there. So I don't.
All right. Well, it was a good run, everybody. We will catch you next week. Since Mark wants to shit on it.
No. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I see it after seeing the movie again, but I don't know. The chemistry is not completely there as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Between the two. Yeah.
Do tell.
If you're going to compare it to, say, Lethal Weapon, that's got good chemistry with Mel Gibson and Danny. Oh, Jesus. Danny Glover.
Jesus,
yeah.
Mark, come on, man. You're making us sound even more Bush League than we already are.
Terrible. So, I don't know. I think the thing I like about this, as far as the buddy thing goes, is we didn't get a white actor or black actor. You got, and it sounds bad, but just it's how it comes across. It was two white guys going across country, and it kind of played against what was going on at the time, as far as the other movies that were out. Because a lot of buddy movies have something that's completely different. So, and like we said earlier, if you get into who they originally tried to cast, which you can get into in a moment, but so no, it's good. I
have to disagree with you, Mark. I thought the chemistry was actually really good, and I thought it worked really well because they were completely polar opposites in this movie.
Right.
One of them was
well, we got you got a category where we recast people And I got a couple ideas that might work a little better, maybe, but I don't know.
I can't wait to hear this.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like
But I'm also, I'm trying to come up with interesting things to say, but I'm not going to downplay the movie anyway, because it's still, I don't know, it's a great movie. It really is.
Well, I'm with Lucas. So, like, I think De Niro and Grodin are great together. I think, like you were saying, like they just are completely opposites to one another. And like I know, De Niro kind of tones down his tough guy role a little bit. And I just think that I can't picture anybody else because, like, we were saying we're going to get into who else was considered for this in a few minutes. But I don't think that if you really replace anybody, like especially Grodin, I think this movie doesn't work well without Charles Grodin in it. I mean, I don't know what you guys think.
Say, like, I feel like the hard ass of De Niro versus kind of like the everyday, I don't want to say meek or weak, but
he's just very neurotic.
Yeah, he almost was like a tough guy with his nerdy friend. Is almost what it seemed like. Somebody that was too smart for his own good, and then having to put up with that as a tough guy.
De Niro had his conscience running around with him, is what it was.
Yeah, that's the best way you could put it.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we'll get into this debate a little bit more when we get into Mark's casting what ifs, because I don't have any, so this will be fun to open up the forum here. We'll get into the tail of the tape here real quick. This movie was released on July 20th, 1988. This stars Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin, Joe Pantoliano with an awesome mullet, Dennis Farina, Yaphet Kotto, and John Ashton. Directed by Martin Brest, who actually, the movie he did before this was the original Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes score, 94% from critics and 87% from audiences. Box office was $81.6 million on a $35 million budget, which actually during the research found out this is the first big hit Robert De Niro ever had in his career at the box office.
Huh.
Yeah, considering like all the movies he's been in, especially like Taxi Driver, Godfather 2, this is his first big box office hit.
I thought Martin Brest had something in between this that was decent.
No, Martin Brest has done Beverly Hills Cop. He did Midnight Run. Then he did Scent of a Woman. Then he did Meet Joe Black. And then he did, what's the Affleck J-Lo turd? Geely.
Yeah.
Those are the only 5 movies he has ever made. I guess apparently he has a reputation for being extremely difficult to work with.
Okay.
Hence why he's only had 5 movies in the old arsenal there.
I also have that reputation depending on who you ask.
Yeah, very difficult. That's why he's not on here all the time now. So Lucas will probably be gone for like the next 3 weeks. So expect a rotating collection of guest hosts, and then he'll be back in mid-December.
I got to go blow off some steam somewhere.
Yeah. This didn't win any awards, and streaming on Peacock and Netflix.
Whoa.
Yeah. We go from not having movies being on any streaming service to where you got your choice of streaming services.
I think maybe the reason Martin doesn't do any movies anymore is because Geely killed his career. So,
well, I mean, let's be real. Like, Beverly Hills Cop and this movie are fantastic. If you're going to give an Oscar for an actor of Al Pacino's caliber, I think Scent of a Woman is probably...
Yeah, no,
it's more of a makeup Oscar. I think that movie's okay, but not great. I think Meet Joe Black sucks, and Geely is awful.
I don't think it was as bad as they said it was, honestly.
What, Geely or Meet Joe Black?
Both, maybe. I don't know. Geely. I tried watching it, I guess, but it's got some really dumb moments. That's just why.
There's more than a few.
Shit dumb, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's on one of the reviews of the movie. It says shit dumb yo, and then that's it. I think it's in the New York Times.
Okay, moving on to his better movie. So
right. All right. Well, the William Somerset Research Corner. I guess funny story that De Niro, I guess, wanted to go into something a little bit more lighthearted because he had just come off The Untouchables. He'd done King of Comedy. Of course, he's notorious for playing like either mob bosses or like these really dark characters. So he wanted to do something a little bit more lighthearted. And I guess he was really interested in playing the Josh Baskin role in Big.
Which I think is Tom Hanks is really good in.
Yeah, I think De Niro comes off as really creepy as a 13-year-old kid.
Just a little.
Definitely.
But he got turned down, which, of course, everybody knows that role went to Tom Hanks. So he was offered the role of Jack Walsh in Midnight Run, which he, of course, got. And then I guess Paramount had the rights to this, and when they first decided to go forward with this, they had Harrison Ford lined up as Jack Walsh and Chevy Chase as the Duke.
Now,
I could see that working.
I could probably see Chevy Chase working for Charles Grodin. Maybe.
I think Harrison Ford and Chevy Chase, I think that would work. I don't know if to me, it would work as well as what ended up being the final product, but I think it would have worked okay.
Yeah.
I guess once they had De Niro cast, they wanted to get a big star to play the Duke, and they even considered casting Cher, who was an A-lister at the time. She'd won an Oscar for, was that Moonstruck? Yeah. And I guess they wanted to have some kind of sexual tension between De Niro and Cher. But Martin Brest shot that down almost immediately, which I guess kind of makes sense now. Can you imagine De Niro telling Cher he's going to shove her head in the toilet?
No, but I would like to.
Or,
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, you ever had sex with an animal?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that. Mark, you're not coming with the big Cher impression tonight?
No.
I guess after the Cher idea got shot down by director Martin Brest, they actually reached out to Robin Williams, who expressed interest in playing the role. And he was going to come in and audition, but Martin Brest had already cast Charles Grodin to play the Duke because he liked the chemistry that him and De Niro had. Which, good thing Mark Dyer wasn't cast in this movie. We wouldn't have gotten Grodin and De Niro.
I could see Mark doing this movie. I really could. Like, he seemed, it's no disrespect. Mark, you're a nerd. I mean, in the nicest way.
Okay,
but I could see you being like an accountant, stealing a whole bunch of money from some fucking mobster.
The Jack Walsh character was also considered for Mel Gibson, Kurt Russell, Michael Keaton, Richard Gere, Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, Charles Bronson, Gene Hackman, Don Johnson, Tommy Lee Jones, John Travolta, Schwarzenegger, and Stallone. Like, all those people were considered for this role.
Yeah, I was looking at this. There was a ton of people they had considered for a bunch of roles in this movie.
Yeah.
I think I know John Goodman was considered at one point for, I think it was Martin, the John Ashton role.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. I guess after De Niro and Grodin got cast, Paramount didn't want anything to do with it because they wanted a big star to play with De Niro. So they dropped the movie and Universal picked it up, and then the rest is history. Which, fun fact, De Niro and Robin Williams went on to make Awakenings a few years later.
Never seen it.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah,
It's well acted. They both got nominated for that, didn't they, Russ?
That's
also directed by Penny Marshall, who did Big. So
I think De Niro did. I don't know if Robin Williams did or not.
I thought he did.
Oh, well, we'll look it up here. Well, I'll look it up while you guys are doing your bits of research. They made 3 made-for-TV sequels to this. Another Midnight Run, Midnight Runaround, and Midnight Run for Your Life that aired in 1994 as part of Universal's Action Pack block of programming that ran on local TV stations in the 90s. Jack Walsh was played by the incomparable Christopher McDonald, who you may know as Shooter McGavin from Happy
I don't know
Gilmore.
what they put in the water, but it gets harder and harder to leave that franchise.
The last bit that I have is Charles Grodin has permanent scars on his wrist from the actual handcuffs they used. They had rubber and plastic handcuffs, but De Niro thought it would work better with the real ones. So Charles Grodin spends the majority of the movie in real handcuffs, and his wrists are scarred for life because of it. And that's all I have. So I will look up the Awakenings Oscar noms, and I will let Lucas, you go ahead and give us what you have for your William Somerset Research Corner.
Okay. Yeah, you guys actually covered a lot of what I had. I did have that Bruce Willis was considered to be De Niro's co-star as one of the ones that wasn't mentioned.
Really? Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Oh, that doesn't work at all.
This is before he was in Die Hard, so he was still doing. What was it? It was comedy, right?
He had done Blind Date.
Die Hard?
No, this was the same
Die Hard
year.
was in 86.
No, Die Hard was 88. This actually, Die Hard and this movie came out, I think, a week apart from each other.
Okay.
Yeah, so he wasn't the big action star yet.
Right.
And then I had Grodin had the Scars for Life. Yaphet Kotto, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Fat Kodo.
He wasn't sure if they were filming a comedy or drama throughout the whole thing, which I think kind of shows. I said I was going to circle around to this. I think because his character always seems so fucking serious in this movie when everyone else seems like they're, it's a little more lighthearted. He always just seems so pissed off throughout this whole movie, which I found absolutely hilarious, incidentally.
I guess he didn't get along with Martin Brest very well. I had heard, there's a couple of really good oral histories on this movie. Esquire did one, and I think Rolling Stone did one too. They Kodo referred to Martin Brest as the Fuhrer a couple times during filming because Martin Brest is known for he can't settle for one take. He has to do numerous takes of the same scene over and over again.
Yeah, that would get on my nerves, especially if you feel like you nailed it. Mm-hmm. The first time you do it. Right.
Oh, by the way, De Niro did get nominated for an Oscar for Awakenings. Robin Williams did not.
Okay.
The last one I have is the script originally had Marvin dying in the scene where Serrano's thugs knock him out, but they felt the climax would be less dramatic and suspenseful without him.
And plus, you can't kill Marvin. That guy's fucking awesome.
That guy's a fucking pain in the ass. He's one of those guys that's like the little brother that just won't go away.
Yeah, for 6 months after I'd seen this as a kid, I called my younger brother Fucko, thanks to John Ashton.
Perfect.
I told you, dude.
All right, what you got? No,
Mark?
Go ahead.
Some other things I had was just the fact that De Niro spent time with real bounty hunters to get into the mindset of his method acting, and then and the other thing was, but he spent a lot of time doing that. Grodin, on the other hand, just called his agent and just wanted to know how to chisel away some money from people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. It was like 10
be an accountant. I also found this really cool. They shot most of the movie in the United States, but the one scene where they go in the river, they had to actually go to New Zealand to shoot it because the water was too cold in Arizona to do it.
Really?
So it's
yeah. That scene where he pulls him out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was too cold.
Yeah, I didn't come across that at all. It's actually really cool.
But that's really it. I saw the Marvin thing and the handcuffs thing I'd read before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the fact that De Niro spent all his time with people that were like that or are like that kind of makes sense for his style, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, after seeing this movie as a kid, I wanted to be a bounty hunter. Then I found out as I got older that it's not a very lucrative job. So I decided not to do it.
Yeah.
That's why he threatens to beat the shit out of the bail bondsman the whole time.
Joe Pantoliano, once again, fantastic mullet.
Joey Pants.
So is that all you guys got for the research stuff?
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. That takes us to the I Drink Your Milkshake Award for the best scene of the movie.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Mark, I'll let you lead off. What do you have?
Best scene.
I know you don't like the movie that much, so this might be a stretch.
No, I do. And I feel bad because I didn't really think of one because I watched the movie in two pieces. So
Mark, that's how I watch every single episode we do. I fall asleep in the chair, so this is stretched out like the old miniseries days of the 80s. I'd have to watch like Midnight Run over 3 nights.
That's no good.
No, it's not, but hey, I got to make do with the situation at hand.
I think if I have a best scene, I'm going to pick the airport scene where they get Serrano. Just because with everything that this 2 characters have gone through, and you've gone through with them in this 2 hours, this payoff like really works really well for the movie. Because it satisfies most of everything that's going on. Without me saying, hey, this is what happens at the actual end.
You know what? This movie came out in 88. We have spoiled movies plenty of time on the show.
Okay. Well, the fact that De Niro gets paid by Grodin's character is, it was a very satisfying ending. It was a very Hollywood ending, if you will. But I think the airport scene like made it really, really like the suspense was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a really good scene. Especially after Marvin decides to interject himself in that too. Plus, I've never been inside of an airport. I've always wanted to yell, "Serrano's got the disc" in an airport. And I think when I fly, we plan on flying out somewhere to the West Coast next year. I think I might try that. Just yell, "Serrano's got the disc."
The TSA just comes and tackles you.
Yeah, then I'm not going anywhere.
Yep.
Lucas, what do you have as your favorite scene of the movie?
I liked when they went into Red's corner store and posed as the FBI agents and stole the money.
All the litmus configuration.
Yep, the litmus configuration, and which, by the way, that was ad-libbed.
Mm-hmm. I did see that.
So that was ad-libbed.
Well, that was good.
And then when they jump on the train, they got Red's watching them out the window. And, they jump on the train and he fucking loses all the groceries, and then he won't let him on the train. He climbs up over it and grabs a hold of him and inside the train. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, like I always get a kick out of that bit when Grodin asked him like why they call you Red. He's like, it's short for Redwood, and it turns out his name is not like has nothing to do with Red, and his name's Bill. Yeah, that's a good scene too. I really like the chase sequence where Grodin ends up and De Niro end up in the river. I like that whole sequence leading up to that. I always thought that was so cool as a kid when De Niro shoots the blade on the helicopter and the helicopter spins. I was like, fuck, can you really do that?
You probably could, but it'd be like a once in a lifetime shot.
That scene's actually in the trailer. I rewatched it a little bit ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like going, he's doing this whole weird squinking his eye and pointing the gun. I'm like going, I don't know, Bobby, that's a little little overacting there, but I mean it's cool when it comes out. So
yeah, I always thought that was so cool. And then of course you get like just once again Marvin gets foiled.
Oh man, that poor guy. He gets fucking punched and knocked out was it like 5 times in this movie?
At least 5 times in this movie. Kind of makes you wonder if he doesn't have CTE down the road.
You watching the movie too when Agent Mosley steals his cigarettes and he kind of goes, I should quit. It'll save us both money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or it's the other way around. So it's like you watch a movie, is he going to do it again? Huh?
I know for me, I think I do like the chase sequence, but I think my favorite scene is the when De Niro and Grodin are in the boxcar.
Yeah.
And then they kind of they start to warm up to one another. Which, when I was reading about this movie, I guess Martin Brest went to Grodin and said, hey, say whatever you can to get De Niro to crack up in the scene. And he says, like, how about them chickens? And then De Niro finally cracks it. Yeah, there's a couple that I would have taken a run at. Yeah, that was completely, they tried to say anything they could to get De Niro to crack up.
And you can't see Cher doing that?
No, easily. But, Mark, I really need you to do that in your best Cher impression.
No. Not even
Producer Adam would have tried it.
As Lucas can do it.
I can't even think of Cher's voice. Don't you have to add a shit ton of bass to your voice and sound like some dude in order to get Cher?
I don't think she's got a deep voice. I mean, she doesn't sound like Biggie Smalls or anything.
I want to hear her rap that.
Well, hey, you know what? Maybe down the road, you'll get Cher raps like 90s. It'd be the East Coast, West Coast hits from Cher.
I like it.
Yeah, you have her do a little Puff Daddy. She'll do some Biggie. She'll do some Tupac. Maybe some NWA.
Ooh.
So what wins? What's the best scene in the movie? Not everybody jump in at once. Huh?
So why don't you be the deciding factor?
Well, I'm going to go with my pick.
Okay. I mean, it's a good scene. It's hard to argue with it.
Yeah. All right. Compelling stuff, fellas. Compelling stuff. All right. So we're going with the boxcar scene then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The I Don't Like Sand, It's Coarse and Rough award.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I didn't really have anything for this. I think this movie's pretty well done throughout. There's nothing I would really cut out of it. Mark, I will start with you. Besides getting rid of the whole thing, what would you like to see cut out of the movie?
And I thought about this one, and I'm trying not to pick on the movie, but the scene between him and his daughter in Chicago kind of bugged me. Because, I mean, okay, so this guy has this integrity where he's not going to take money from anybody, but he's going to leave his kid for a number of years. I mean, I get he was in that situation, but I still thought, I was just like, it just felt awkward to me.
Well, I think that's the whole point of it, though. I think it's meant to feel awkward.
Well, I mean,
because he hasn't seen his kids in like 9 years, and like his ex-wife's remarried to a guy on the Chicago police force who's a captain now.
Well, if he had more integrity, he would actually stick around for his kid. You know?
Well, I mean, I guess you could say, yeah. I mean, you could, but you know,
it brings doubt to the character that De Niro's trying to play. So,
well, he never said he would take a payoff from a criminal,
right?
So, which I mean, that doesn't necessarily, you know, he doesn't claim to be the world's best dad,
right? But I mean, there's a scene I don't like. That's it. So
yeah. All right, fair enough. I mean, I actually think it's a really good scene because it's you know
you don't really need the kid to even be there. You know, it's just to say, oh, he knows. You know, he has a kid. Showing her just kind of like goes.
Well, where else were they going to get the car from then?
I don't know. Well, she did give him money too, so.
He didn't take the money though.
Oh, she tried.
She tried. So. She's like, I can't take that.
So I'm not gonna be a dad, but I'm also gonna take your money. I don't want that payoff either. So.
Well, I mean, I kind of expected that since you are the world's greatest dad. You got that T-shirt to prove it tonight. I see Lucas look to see if he's actually wearing one.
You never know.
Oh my God! Don't make me change shirts. I got one.
Please don't.
Yeah, please don't. We don't need the gun show tonight. Lucas,
I'm not gonna take the shirt off for you. I'll get the shirt though. So.
I wrote down that scene with the daughter. I don't think it's a bad scene, and I don't think it's unnecessary. It just bummed me out.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like, I'm sure he would rather. He even says later on that he hopes that him and his ex-wife could get back together in the boxcar. So,
yeah, and then he finally tells him, Duke finally tells him that it's time to let it go and move on, which, it's true. And like, it's just, I don't know, that scene just really bummed me out.
Yeah, it's kind of sad watching him like struggle to even have any kind of conversation at all with his kid.
Right.
Yeah, because I've lived that, and I've seen it, and it's awkward when you're around a parent that you haven't seen in years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Even to this day, it's awkward being around my dad after, like he moved out when I was 12 and moved to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm bringing down the podcast, and everybody looks at me real sad. Sorry.
No, I think the podcast had already taken a turn towards the worst when you guys didn't put up any kind of argument for the best scene of the movie. You just laid down and played dead.
But it was a good scene.
It's a good scene.
I was hoping for a little bit of pushback, at least from Mark. I mean, I know he hates this movie.
Come on, De Niro's going to do it with the chicken. Who doesn't want to see that?
I don't want to see him. I don't know what kind of shit you're into.
There you go.
I don't want to see anybody
the podcast is brought up again. So.
All right. Well, I mean, I didn't really have anything, so I guess we will award the award to the De Niro meets his daughter again and goes to get money and a car from his ex-wife. We'll give it to that. Fair enough. the King Kong Ain't Got Shit on Me award for the best line of the movie.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Lucas, what do you have?
I have the part where the Duke says, "You can't steal a truck," and Walsh said, "You were stealing a plane." I just thought that was hilarious. Like, yeah, you were stealing a whole fucking plane from the Indian Reserve. It was like stealing probably one of their only sources of income, their crop dusting plane.
I do like that scene too, where he's trying to chase him on the airplane.
Land this fucking thing.
Great Danny Elfman score in that too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, Danny Elfman's awesome in this. Mark, what do you have for your favorite line of the movie?
I like the one you said earlier. Is this moron number one? Put moron number two on the phone.
Yeah.
I think our introduction to Dennis Farina was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like his second movie, and then we get him for the next, 20-some years plus?
Was this the second movie?
I thought so, yeah.
Because I know he's in Thief, the Michael Mann movie.
Or no, it's like his fifth movie, something like that. I'm sorry.
Well, I know they had to film all of his stuff in Vegas because he was doing Crime Story, the television show.
Right.
Yeah, Dennis Farina's great in this too. He possible nominee for the McLovin later.
Mm-hmm.
Possible.
So, but I mean, I thought about this too. When we do this category, you're looking for like kind of a one-liner. But the thing about this movie that's really good is the whole script is good. I mean, this is a well-written script. Martin Brest did a fabulous job with it. It's a shame it didn't get nominated for original script or screenplay.
There's a few Oscar snubs for this movie, but I won't get into that today.
So, but I mean, yeah, I think most of the dialogue is really good between De Niro and anything De Niro says.
Mm-hmm.
The sunglasses scene in the car with the feds, I mean, that's hysterical. So,
yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was looking for my best line. Like, there's not a one best line; it's dialogue between people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and all of it's good.
Oh yeah, totally. I have the when Grodin is telling him, like, basically, telling him to calm down. He basically tells him here's 2 words for you: shut the fuck up. Which I thought the line "shut the fuck up" because I think they use it 5 or 6 times in this movie at least. So I'm going to go with that one, just simply because it's used so much in the movie.
And in Lucas's everyday life.
Yeah, and like I said, that phrase is probably one of the phrases that sculpted me as the upstanding adult that I am now.
I'm pretty sure I've said, like, when we all work together, I'm pretty sure I told Mark a time or two to shut the fuck up.
I think we all have.
I'm sure.
I think we've all told him that once or twice. All right.
Just purely out of love.
Maybe me, not so much. All right, so what's getting this one, guys?
I like the moron 1, put moron 2 on the phone.
Yeah, I'll give it to that. Just because it's, Mark brought up a great point. It's a great introduction to Dennis Farina's character, Dennis Farina, one of the awesome character actors of our time. I fucking love that dude in anything he's in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
To say, when I've seen him, I feel like he plays the same character in something else that I've seen him in.
He generally plays a tough guy, mob boss, cop, something like that. He used to be a cop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he was.
I think I remember reading that a long time ago.
Yeah, he used to be. I think he was a police officer in Chicago, and he retired and became an actor. So
it's quite the career journey.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. Just retire from what I'm doing. Just become an actor somewhere.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Dennis peaked a little bit when he hit Get Shorty.
Oh, dude, Get Shorty. I fucking love that movie. It's going to be a movie that we're going to do down the road. Ray Barboni is fantastic in that movie.
Yes.
Lucas, have you seen Get Shorty?
I don't know if I've seen it all the way through. I remember seeing some of it, but I don't know if I've seen it, and it's been so long.
Lucas, look at me.
Yes,
look
Daddy.
At me.
Yes,
look
Daddy.
It's a line.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, Dennis Farina kills it in Get Shorty. And as a matter of fact, I will go on record as saying that I actually like Travolta better in Get Shorty than I do Pulp Fiction.
Wow. Well, that's high praise.
That is very high praise. And I think Mark's walking away now. He's like, man, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. This fucking Bush League.
No, I agree with you totally.
This Bush League show. Yeah, Travolta just comes off as super cool in that movie. And then I think after that is that slow descent back to direct-to-DVD stuff after that. I mean, he made a lot of, theatrical stuff after that, but, like, I don't think it got much better for him after Pulp Fiction and Get Shorty.
It's actually funny you bring him up. I seen a TikTok the other day. The guy's got a goddamn 757 in his driveway.
Yeah, he's a licensed pilot, isn't he?
I don't know.
I thought he was.
He's got a big old fucking jumbo jet in his goddamn driveway, though.
Oh, you don't?
I had that kind of money.
You don't?
If I do, then it crash landed there.
Yeah, I've got one. Taking it to work tomorrow.
Lucas, like, where's it at?
Yeah.
Where at?
I thought everybody had a jumbo jet in their driveway.
In their Haas.
All right. So we're giving it to the moron number one, moron number two. Okay, I'm good with that. Now this is the category that I was curious because there's a lot of guys that like great character actors in this movie. So this one I think was going to be a pretty good category. The McLovin Award for the Best Supporting Performance.
I am McLovin.
I will lead off. My nominee is John Ashton as Marvin. Fucking love that dude. He always like gets the shit in the stick. He taught me how to say fucko. He's really good.
He fucking opens his door and hits a guy while he's driving by.
Yeah.
Which that just automatically makes you cool.
Feel bad for him because I know for a fact that as he gets older, he probably has CTE or some kind of neurological disorder. It also got me thinking, like, is John Ashton still alive? But like, he never really, like, he was kind of big in the late '80s, and then just fell off the face of the earth. Like, I didn't see him in anything really after was Cop 2.
His biggest movie was Gone Baby Gone in 2007. He did a movie in 2020 called Death in Texas, which I don't know what that is.
So outside of the Gone Baby Gone, he really hasn't done anything since Midnight Run in '89 or '88.
Small, also direct-to-video movies. So he's been in stuff. You know, it's probably somebody you'll see. You have to take the time to watch the little stuff that it's probably not any good anyway.
That guy should fire his fucking agent because, like, between being in Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 and this, should have had a bigger career. I mean, like, he at least been in a TV show.
He did shoot some shows, it looked like. Oh.
Could have been in NYPD Blue. Could have been
see that.
Been the Dennis France character.
He did a Law and Order.
But he wasn't the star of a television show.
No, just bit parts.
Yeah, see, that guy deserves better. Well, that's my nominee. Mark, who do you have as your nominee for the McLovin?
Honestly, I think it's a three-way tie between Yafet Koto, John Aston, and Dennis Farina.
Mm-hmm.
Like all three of them, like in all three of their like points in the movie were really good. They're memorable, good characters, well written. Carlo for characters too, so it's hard to have one stand out for the other, and each of them are like necessary for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much John Aston's character. You could probably do without his character. Maybe.
Blasphemy.
I said maybe. Maybe. It's a good foil to De Niro, but I'm just saying. He's kind of it all works together. So,
but you have to pick. You have to pick one.
I'm going to go with Yafet.
Okay.
Better.
I'm good with that.
I just the whole. I'm Agent Mosley. You know, the whole thing through that. Just because, like Lucas said earlier, he's not sure if he's being serious or if he's doing a comedy role, so it comes off like pretty hard.
Well, I would imagine between working with Martin Brest and having a fever throughout the entire production of the movie, it would probably put you in a cranky mood. All right, Lucas, who's your nominee?
I had two, but I'll just pick the one. because I had Kodo and I had John Ashton, but I actually like John Ashton better. I just think he brings, unlike what Mark said, trying to get rid of him. Nah, I'm just kidding. He brings the comedy relief to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because you just imagine somebody, just somebody that you're picking on, over and over again, just fucking with them all the time. And then they finally, get one over on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still get one over on them. That's the character. And it's just because we all know somebody that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's this guy. We're going to punch him in the face through the whole movie. For a good reason, too.
And then he finally, gets his guy and he makes a stupid deal instead of going to take the cash that he should have taken the right way.
Mm-hmm.
He fucks himself in that way and just ruins the whole thing for himself. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess it's interesting that you guys, with your nominees, that kind of tells you how good Kodo and Ashton are, that no one mentioned Joey Pants.
Oh, yeah, he was really.
Joey's done. I think Joey's done that. I feel like he's done that sort of thing before, like that tone. I don't know.
Kind of a slime ball. That's kind of like his thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of his thing.
I was thinking that when I was watching it. Because you know me, I'm not as good with movies as you guys are, but I remember people and I kind of remember characters, and I feel like he has done that in another movie that I've seen.
Oh, geez.
Well, I looked at his movies he's been in, and I went, there's a bunch of those I haven't seen. And, we all know Goonies, but then there's The Matrix.
He's the pimp in Risky Business.
But the thing is one of his better roles that's not slimy is he's in Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3. And you remember him as that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, but he's still, like, I don't know, maybe it's just his distinct voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he always just seemed, even when he's, like, the captain good guy in Bad Boys, he still seems like a slime ball to me.
Right.
All right, so are we giving this to Yaphet Kotto then, since you both nominated him for that?
I don't know. I'm good with either him or Ashton.
Okay, two-way tie. We'll give it to both of them.
There you go. You can't go wrong with either one of them, like Mark said.
Yeah, both. I don't know if Yaphet Kotto just passed away recently, which is unfortunate because we did have a $25 gift card to Texas Roadhouse to award to the winner of the McLovin, but we'll save that for next time.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. I don't have $25 to my name. I guess the next category is the unsolved mysteries of the movie.
Join me. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
I've kind of answered, does Marvin have CTE in his later years? Is he in a home now, relying on people to take care of him because of all the head trauma he suffered just in this movie?
He has no idea where he is.
No, he has no idea that he could have captured the Duke. He has no idea who Jack Walsh is.
No, the Jack Walsh is like the one person he remembers.
Oh, yeah. Well, he has it written down. He has his fucking credit card number written down.
That's true.
He canceled it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Lucas, I know you had a couple mysteries that you needed help solving. So what do you got?
Yeah, why wasn't Mosley ever in trouble for having his badge stolen as an FBI agent?
Well, I mean, for me, I think it's the fact they caught Jimmy Serrano. So all that shit gets swept under the rug.
But before that, I mean, they didn't know that he was going to catch him,
I bet he didn't tell anybody that.
Yeah, probably let it slide.
But his little fucking sidekick idiots knew.
Dude, if that guy is staring you down, are you going to fucking rat him out? I sure as hell wouldn't. Like, oh, okay, boss. What stolen badge?
He just had that scene where the one guy comes up to him and he goes, "It's not going to be good news, is it?" He goes, "No." He goes,
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably didn't report his badge stolen at all.
He was in the heat of battle. It didn't matter, so.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they caught Serrano, so all is forgiven. Just like, De Niro impersonating an FBI agent didn't get him in trouble at the end of the day.
That's true.
Liable to get in much more trouble impersonating an FBI agent than losing your FBI badge.
Right.
Also got swept under the rug.
Hollywood ending.
So the Duke, was set free, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was still a bail jumper. So where do you suppose he went when he was set free?
I think he's on some island somewhere.
With his wife? Or
Yeah.
no?
Oh, yeah.
I know he loved her, but she was all the way across the country.
I'm sure he found a way to get back to her. I think
I'm sure he left her some cash. Go, we're meeting here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure they probably come up with, like, if we get separated, here's point A. We'll meet here. I've got money stashed here. Go here, get money. Meet me down here, and I'll catch up to you.
You think he stole the Native Americans' plane to get where he needed to go?
I don't know, man. Like, the way that, like, once he gets him out of the plane and the way that thing kind of just shimmies when it hits that car, I don't think that plane's getting very far.
That's true. Those were my two unsolved mystery questions.
All right, Mark, do you have anything that...
Not really. No,
I'm sure you've probably psychoanalyzed
everything.
everything. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's just bad screenplay writing.
No.
It's amateur hour here at Midnight Run. Okay, the last category we have is the Who Wins the Movie, the I'm the King of the World award.
I'm the King of the World!
Lucas, who wins this movie for you?
For me, it's the two main stars, but it could also be the director. And really, it could be everybody, just because the movie is just a really fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I saw online that they call it the Casablanca of buddy movies or buddy comedies. I feel like I agree with Mark in a way that it's an odd chemistry, but I disagree that I think it actually works really well. And I think that's what makes this movie so good is the difference in probably the type of human. Like, I'm not saying Robert De Niro is a piece of shit by any means, but he's also definitely more of a tough guy than I would see Charles Grodin being, you know? So I feel like their characters, they kind of mirror their characters a little bit in life.
Mm-hmm.
A little more hard ass versus more of a nice guy.
Yeah.
So I feel like they play off each other really well. So I feel like those two win the movie, and then we all win the movie just by how much fun it is.
Right. Before I get to your winner, Mark, I do want to touch base because we got rid of the Eric Stoltz Award because we didn't have any nominees. So I didn't bring it up on this particular episode. But since you did, I kind of want to hear who you would replace in this movie. I'm guessing since you brought it up, it's probably one of the two main leads.
No, De Niro's fine. I mean, I here's the thing: the movie's so well written. I think you almost could put somebody like Harrison Ford in it, or Mel Gibson, or Kurt Russell in this movie. It's going to work really well. I know De Niro has his specific like idiosyncrasies and tics and everything, and it works really well. It does. But I'm like going, okay, so who can you recast to make it interesting? And Charles Grodin is one of these guys that, I'm like, you know who he is, but do you remember all the movies he was in, really?
Fucking Beethoven, because when I was growing up, I loved him in that movie.
Dog movie?
Yeah, because, I was a kid.
Right. I remember him in The Lonely Guy with Steve Martin, which is an old 70s movie, but I'm a Steve Martin fan, so it's like he has that type of thing. But I'm like thinking, who could play this role too? And I thought, I thought actually Martin Short could do it if he's not so like loosey-goosey with his thing, but he could play it more straight. I think the Robin Williams idea that they had was okay, but he's still too...
Yeah, see, I don't like Robin Williams in that at all. Like, I think he would have went into just doing like bits, and I just don't think it would have worked.
Right. And the other person I thought of, and I don't know why this actor came to mind, was Stephen Tobolowsky. You guys like going, okay, who's that?
I know who he is. I was just trying
Groundhog
to.
Day.
He's Ned Ryerson.
Yeah, Ned Ryerson. Yeah. And I don't know why this guy would.
Day in a long time. I don't remember.
What do you think, Russ? Maybe? No.
I think what makes it work so well is the fact that Grodin's not an A-list star, and I think you're going a little too too character actorish with Tobolowsky, you know? Like, I think Grodin was kind of perfect because now the only guy that I could see doing this as well as Grodin would have been Albert Brooks.
Yeah, I saw him.
He was considered at one point, and I think Albert Brooks kind of became the go-to. If you wanted Charles Grodin, it's like, oh, just get Mel Brooks instead. Because they kind of play like similar type roles for the most part. Kind of like Eisenberg and Sarah. Not quite like that, but.
Oh, I just looked up Albert Brooks, and yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, maybe Albert Brooks, but I think that it works well because you don't have like a A-list star kind of taken away from De Niro a little bit. De Niro's able to kind of do his own thing, but yet he kind of like gives everybody else a chance to shine by like kind of taking a step back. He's not trying to be too funny. He's kind of toned down his tough guy role. I think what Lucas said, I think him and Grodin they bounce so well off one another that I couldn't recast this movie.
Okay.
And I think that's, for me, they win the movie too. For that reason. I just think that, like, for me, that no one ever got the vibe that those two have quite right beforehand, and no one mastered it afterward. Because, like, the buddy cop, the archetype for, like, the mismatched pair, I think it kind of ran its course finally in the early 2000s, maybe?
What was that? Downey Jr. and the guy from The Hangover, where they were like going across country.
Oh, Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, that was like the last try on that, I think.
Yeah, and then was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang before? Yeah, it was because Robert Downey Jr. wasn't big.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 2008.
Yeah, well, that was too.
Though?
Huh?
You think that's a buddy movie though?
Oh yeah, easily. What you gave me a look? Why isn't it a buddy movie?
I don't know. I don't think it just doesn't come across that just from what I remember of it. But I mean, it's been a while.
Oh yeah, I see. It's been a while since I've seen it too. Well, Mark, who wins the movie for you then?
I think Martin Brest does.
Really? The Fuhrer?
Yeah, I think the screenplay is perfect. Honestly, I do.
I don't think Martin Brest wrote the screenplay, though.
I think he did. Wrote and directed it?
He directed it. Well, Mark, you keep talking, and I will. George Gallo wrote this movie.
Okay, well, then I guess
George Gallo, who also wrote Bad Boys. He wrote, let's see, the whole 9 yards. Bad Boys 2. See Spot Run. He wrote all of those Midnight Run sequels that they made for TV. And
are those any good? Or are they shit?
I never bothered to watch them because it's like I'm not watching the Dollar Tree version of Midnight Run. Sorry, which you could find those 3 sequels probably at the Dollar Tree as a 3-pack.
And by the way, I really like the whole 9 yards. So if you're giving it to that screenwriter, Mark, that's a good choice.
I think I am. Really I just think it's a good script. I mean, we had an issue with it just coming up with a really good, not really issue with a good quote line, but I mean, all the dialogue's like entertaining, and memorable. So it's like when you watch the movie again, you're like, oh, he's about to say it. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's good when you know it's coming.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I read that he mirrored the dialogue off of his parents.
Oh, what, between Grodin and De Niro?
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't remember my parents arguing too often because I'm a child of divorce, but I guess they kind of bicker like an old married couple.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Maybe that's what makes it work too,
Yeah. Right place at the right time.
I mean, the movie's definitely underrated. So.
Oh yeah, it's definitely underrated for sure.
It's a shame though at this point it does, and unfortunately does become dated if you don't know what year it came out. So just because.
See, I don't think it is dated though, because I mean you could easily take that whole plot and make it in 2021, and without cell phones, it still works.
Right.
Which, I mean, most of those movies from the 80s probably aren't working quite as well. But yeah, I think Midnight Run, you could easily just put that. You could do like Kevin Hart and The Rock. Guys, Kevin Hart, Rock, I know you're listening. We're not encouraging you to do the Midnight Run remake.
They did Central Intelligence.
Yeah, they've done a couple. They're probably the modern day. Like, that's probably the closest thing we get to buddy stuff now is Kevin Hart and The Rock. So yeah, they've done what, 3 movies together? The 2 Jumanjis and Central Intelligence. Yeah.
I don't know what else they were in. I know they were in something else probably.
Yeah.
I was, you were talking about how it was overrated. And I'm looking at some of the comedies of 1988. That was a big year for comedy. It's a big time year for comedy.
We talk about other people that were recast too, and I'm like going, Harrison Ford couldn't do it because then he wouldn't have done the Last Crusade, because that came out in '89, so they had to shoot it sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the other people were working on stuff at the time, so it's no wonder they had problems getting it cast.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, think about this, Russ? If this movie has Harrison Ford in that role, does it have a bigger box office, do you think?
Oh yeah, I think so. Just, I mean, Harrison Ford was like kind of like the big draw of the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Probably in terms of like just box office, I don't think there's been anybody that has quite the run he's had. So yeah, I think it would have done more money for sure.
He was big in the early 90s too.
I was thinking about this too. I'm like, De Niro, he has to do this movie when he did it, because if he puts this thing out after Goodfellas, I don't think it works.
Mm-hmm.
I think his like persona after Goodfellas was completely different. I mean, he had to freaking do something like Showtime to chop it down a lot.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you talking about you're talking about Paycheck Robert De Niro now?
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's like Daddy needs a new pool, or I've got to pay for my divorce, De Niro.
And somebody said the same about like Meet the Parents, but those movies are somewhat entertaining. So
yeah, the first Meet the Parents is okay, but I mean, he just made some fucking garbage comedies. But I think that like with those, he's not trying to lean into what he does best.
Right.
He's trying to be funny, and it just doesn't work.
Well, I think that's why Meet the Parents, I think he works in that movie because of he's being himself.
Right. Although I think with Meet the Parents, I think one of those was good enough. They didn't. What did they do? Make 3 of them?
Yeah, and 2 and 3 aren't very good.
The third one, and it's been so long since I've seen him. The third one did have Dustin Hoffman and Bette Midler doing The Parents, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Was it the second or the third one? I thought it was the second one had Hoffman and...
Yeah, I think it's the second one.
Streisand's the mom in that.
Streisand, okay. Yeah, you're right. It's so long it's been since I've seen him.
Mm-hmm. A singer-actress was in that movie.
Yeah.
See, I think this whole conversation running on just tells you that, how good Robert De Niro was in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we've gone on so long talking about some of the other stuff that wasn't very good and some of the stuff that was not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, like Mark said, he needed to do this at this time, and he does really well at it.
Well, yeah, he was coming off of some, I know he had done, I think he was Al Capone in The Untouchables right before this movie. Right. And he played the devil. What was that? Ain't that movie where he plays the devil?
Jesus.
Angel Heart.
Angel Heart, yes.
Yeah, he was the devil, and then he did that movie with Jeremy Irons where they're the two.
The Mission.
Yeah, The Mission. And then he was in The King of Comedy, but that's a black comedy. That movie's fucking like fucked up in so many ways, which is basically where the Joker, I think, gets a lot of its inspiration from. But well, do either one of you chaps have anything you want to add to this before we wrap this bad boy up?
No, sir. I think we pretty much covered it after we pick who won the movie.
All right. Well, Mark, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
We'll bring you back at some point soon. We'll have to do a movie that you actually like.
I do like this movie a lot, Russ. Don't get me wrong.
It's not. I know it's not.
I gotta give you a little bounce back.
It's not Cinema Paradiso.
I've never seen that movie.
Neither have I. When I was looking up movies in 1988, that movie popped up.
I keep meaning to watch it, but I'm like, I don't.
Of course you
want to
did.
sit down for the black one. Yeah. So.
All right, guys. Well, it was a blast. We will be back next week. So until then, we will catch you guys later. And that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed that one as much as we did recording it. And if you haven't seen Midnight Run, I highly recommend going over to Netflix or Peacock and checking it out right now. It's an underrated classic for sure. Coming up next week, we've got Home Alone, which is going to be its 31st anniversary coming up. Wow, it's hard to believe that movie's 31 years old this week. So please check us out, subscribe, listen wherever you get podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, pretty much all the major platforms. Be sure to tell a friend if you enjoyed what you hear today. If you didn't like what you heard today, just forget you even wasted an hour of your day. Either way, we hope you guys have a great week, and we will talk at you next Monday.